Hello, everyone. This is Bill Keegan, Town Manager in Foxboro, with your latest update on COVID-19 in the town of Foxboro. First, let's take a look at the numbers. So, as of today, there are 292 cases in Norfolk County. There are 8 cases in Foxboro, though one has actually been recovered. So we were at 8 for today's tally. There are 219 hospitalized throughout the state. 366 are not hospitalized, and several are actually are under investigation. And today's percentage of hospitalizations is up to 9.1%. That's a little bit of a jump from yesterday, which was around 5.6. So we'll keep a close eye on that as it continues to develop. For the age groups of 20 through 29, there are 425 cases. In the age group from 30 to 39, there were 433 cases. From the age group 40 to 49, there was 386 cases, and 50 to 59 is 437. There are from the age group of 60 to 69, there were 329 and 352 of those age 70 or greater, and 53 are under the age of 19. So it's pretty well dispersed, except for the age group below 19 or younger. And so, which is good news to hear that, but there's a pretty large disbursement of numbers throughout the age groups above that age, so throughout the state. So it's pretty well balanced in that respect, with the highest amount, though, being the age 50 to 59 at this point in time. There are 194 states of emergency declared throughout the state, and Foxboro, again, is one of those. Statewide, we have 2,417 cases and 25 deaths as a result of that. So obviously the numbers have ramped up this week based upon the fact that we are doing more testing. So of course that does reflect a little bit more in the numbers. But so obviously you want to keep an eye on that, and we'll continue to keep you posted on a daily basis on how that reads. So let me give you a little more information relative to how the town is doing around. And so some of the things that were important that we wanted to reach out to you on. First and foremost, I want to say that I've received this a couple times now, with several folks reaching out to me to make sure that we get this word out. All the playgrounds are in fact closed. So we want to make sure that kids stay off the playground equipment. That is considered to be not a good practice at this point in time. Because for coronavirus, as we understand it, does actually live on top of services like that. So we want to make sure that we do not do that and instruct the kids not to do it. And parents, please pay close attention to this, because that word is really important right now. So make sure we keep away from the playgrounds. We do encourage people to get out and walk. That's really important. And make sure you have that social interaction in terms of seeing people from a distance, and maybe saying hello to people from a distance, but don't get close and talk to them up close, obviously within the 6 requirements that we've been setting for everyone. Just a couple other things. There's also something that there's a multi-generational Penpal process that's been going on with folks in between the seniors and the recreation group. And so I wanted to make that aware to everybody that if we could just add this in for today, that both Mark in Council on Aging and Renee in the recreation department are organizing a pen pal group between the younger generation of recreation and the older generation at the senior center. They will be having kids write letters or cards to a senior and have their return address included in the letter. They can drop the letters off in the slot at the recreation office at the Booth Playground. They will then get the letters to Mark over at the senior center and distribute them to those that want to join in the fun. Both groups can continue to write back and forth on their own during this isolated time. At the end of this craziness, they will host a pen pal picnic, so that the seniors can then meet their pen pal and vice versa, and actually have that interaction, one-on-one interaction, which I think is terrific. Great idea. I'm really glad to see the creative minds going on here in town, and great work from both recreation as well as Council on Aging for making this happen. Also, at the Council on Aging, I want to make you aware of the fact that there is a PPE donation going on, in which Mark is actually working on as well, Mark Craig, and he is actually collecting a PPE at the starting on Monday they'll be starting to collect that at the Council on Aging. So in case anybody wants to make a donation, I think it's really helpful. So I just, as I'm reading, as I'm watching here, people are actually writing into me right now, and I'm just getting the word that this is a person has just written into me. There's a person who's in hospital in quarantine in Foxboro. There's a Foxboro resident in quarantine in Norwood, and a bunch of new coronavirus experimental drugs, antibiotics of breathing are being offered, and breathing assistance is being offered as well. So we're concerned about this particular resident. Won't mention their name, of course, but certainly I'm glad that you're writing over to us, and we hope that you do recover quite quickly, and hope that the antibiotics do work for you. So we are, in terms of, this other question that's been raised, what is the town doing to sanitize public places, railings, benches? A lot of the public places themselves are closed, so we just letting, in terms of people are going to have to use their own ability to actually sanitize railings, things, etc., and use good judgment when you sit in those areas, because obviously that's something that, and I think it's something that we have to do a little bit more self-policing. The town can't do all those things because it's too out of a space, and we don't want to create a situation where we're jeopardizing employees as well while doing that. So we certainly want people to use good judgment while you're out there doing that. So again, this is another thing where somebody wrote to me and was obviously very concerned about the playground equipment being used, and certainly we share that concern. But at some point, people have to do a little bit of self-policing. We have to watch out for each other in these kind of situations as well. We can't do all those things for everyone at every time, but the government can't be involved in every single situation. So let me just say to you that a report to you too. There are a couple other things that came out as part of my update today that I wanted to share with you. Just a friendly reminder regarding social distancing at fields, and of course goes back to even the playground, but certainly at fields and walking areas, make sure people are doing social distancing there as well. Consumers may notice that some changes in food labels at the supermarkets, as the FDA provides temporary flexibility regarding nutrition labels of certain packaged foods in response to COVID-19 pandemic. Some food items originally packaged for use in restaurants only may now be offered for sale to consumers. The governor spoke earlier today at 11 o'clock. Some of the highlights of that discussion were that he is actually increasing the date for filing of taxes from April 15th to July 15th. So anybody who has a tax that they need to file in Massachusetts, that has been pushed off to July 15th. Also, yesterday there were a number of things that the governor talked about, and that primarily around the fact that he's concerned very much about the issue of folks going to try and go to a doctor when in fact they can use telemedicine for that purpose, and we certainly want to emphasize that as well for our residents and for our listeners. Make sure that you're using the telecasting prompt, because that telecasting option, because I think that does two things. One, it protects you as an individual further, as well as the fact that it protects the healthcare workers who we really need at this point in time. There are 21 labs now testing for COVID-19 throughout the state. Increased testing capacity will lead to increased positive cases, and that is good news in some ways, because we now will have a better understanding where those cases are, and we can focus our attentions on those who need it. If you have questions about testing, you should contact your local, your primary care physician, so that they can actually provide you with the guidance exactly on where testing could be held. Governors made requests to FEMA for a disaster declaration. Yesterday, the governor indicated has sent a letter to Washington asking that Massachusetts be declared a disaster area, given the circumstances that we're under. Among other things, disaster assistance could help unemployed workers who don't qualify for the state unemployment assistance, who are self-employed, 1099 contractors, etc. Regulations have been eased for hospitals and pharmacies, so that they can actually get help to those people who need it the most. And related to unemployment, very important to have the name of your employer as it appears in your W-2 when filing for unemployment. So if you're doing that, make sure it's the name that's listed on your W-2 form. That is really critical to make sure you get a turnaround on your request for unemployment benefits. Manufacturers are repurposing facilities to begin making personal protective equipment. I was watching with interest this morning on CNBC that there was a company down in Philadelphia or in Pennsylvania that makes uniforms for Major League Baseball, and they're actually changing that equipment over to turn it into PPE garments and masks for those who need it in the medical facility. So again, American ingenuity taking over here. So this is a great thing to see. So I also just wanted to just state to you that we are continuing to do everything we can on our end to maintain government operating in the best way possible. It is difficult, of course, to do all the things that we've been trying to do on a regular basis because we're just not in a position to do that. But we're going to continue to try and provide you with the most information and the best results that we can try and do that during this limited period of time. Our staff is continuing to rotate from home and being in the office. Most people are working from home, but there are a lot of people still working in the offices. Those are the critical people that will continue to do that. We're holding a meeting on Monday morning of a newly formed COVID-19 task force that will continue to work throughout the course of this epidemic and pandemic, and hope that we can actually continue to provide more information as it becomes available to us for you and the messaging that's really critical under these conditions. Another thing that the recreation has done is that it is we're doing we've moved to a virtual department. The recreation has moved to a virtual department, and they've reinvented themselves to Discover Recreation, the home edition. And so what they've done was to be creative and say things such as and go throughout the entire week as for different names. So on Monday, it's Make It Monday. So they'll be, I'm sure, making things from home. Terrific Tuesday, Wellness Wednesday, Thinking Thursday, Family Fun Friday, Springtime Saturday, and Social Selfie on Sunday. So they'll be doing those kinds of things throughout the week. So make sure you check out their Facebook page because they've been providing a lot of good information as that goes through. They mapped out a schedule for appropriate projects and videos coming from different sources. So they are actually doing exercise programs and different fun programs online. So you want to pay close attention to that because they're doing a great job with getting that information out as well. Again, continue to send me your thoughts and make sure that you provide me with some ideas, because we've had a couple ideas that that we've actually put in place based on your creative nature. So how significant and important it was to get it out. But we'll take any and all ideas. So we appreciate you reaching out to us. You can send your ideas to me at wkeegan@foxboroma.gov, and that's Foxboro spelled the old-fashioned way, O-U-G-H, ma.gov. So make sure you do that as well. And again, just to remind everyone that we continue to practice good hygiene skills. Wash your hands every day, as often as many times during the day. Use hand sanitizer whenever possible. And also look out for each other. Look out for your neighbors, especially over the weekend. And I'll continue to try and provide you with a broadcast over the weekend. I may have different times, but based on what's going on even on my home front. But we're trying to be careful here as well. So just wanted to make sure that that you take care of what's important. That's your family, and continue to exercise, get outside, enjoy the good weather. It's supposed to be nice tomorrow and today, and a little bit of rain on Sunday. So we'll kind of work our way through that. But do appreciate you continuing to watch and follow the show as we continue to do this and make our way through this all-important COVID-19 situation. But obviously, this is a very interesting time for all of us, and we're continuing to work through it, and I appreciate your help and support as we do that. For now, stay safe over the weekend and stay healthy, and we'll see you next time.